What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, we are in that wonderful time where we are getting daily reveals for Digimon cards. We're still doing 2 videos a day at the moment for Digimon. It's not necessarily a deliberate thing. I don't intend keeping this up forever. The game is still fairly new, but while there are this many reveals happening and I'm getting this excited about them, I'm afraid I just can't help myself. Plus, if I don't catch up on the reveals and show you all the new cards, well, am I even really doing my job properly? I would say no. We got a couple of level 6 Yellow Digimon to talk about today, and stop me if you've heard this one before, but our translation comes from the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming. Do check them out on Facebook. They are doing awesome work. So, starting off then, we've got a rare and an uncommon. We'll start off with the uncommon. We've got Rhizomon. Now, one thing that's really cool here is we've got a 10 cost level 6. Level 6s generally don't cost 10. They cost 11 or 12. I mean, we've seen 10 cost level 6s, but make no mistake about it, this is cheap, especially given that you do have an ability here rather than just being a vanilla Digimon. Now, you are a 4 cost to Digivolve, which is expensive. So cheap to play normally, expensive to Digivolve. But do you really want a hard cast a 10 cost? You can, but you've been warned. And the 10,000 power is very weak. That is about as low as we reasonably expect from a level 6. So nice and cheap to play normally, but expensive to Digivolve and quite weak. Maybe not as amazing as we might have thought. Oh yeah, but when you Digivolve, Recovery 2. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. We've seen plenty of recovery, and it's a very yellow thing to do. We've seen Digimon that can recover, but the fact of the matter is, Recovery 2 is nuts. Like, we can look at someone like Rasielmon from New Evolution, and when you Digivolve, you recover 1. And there's no downside to that, incidentally, you just recover 1. That is amazing. Rhizomon from New Evolution, when you play it, you recover 1. These are cool cards. Recovery 1 is really good. Recovery 2? Yes. All of the yes. However, it's not quite that simple. Because the problem is, you don't just recover 2. You recover 2, and at the end of your opponent's turn, you discard your security card from the top. You discard the top card of your security at the end of your turn. Which is terrifying. Like, properly terrifying. Now, I have asked a question to Ensan Gaming Channel. We'll see if we get a response. Is this at the end of every turn? Or is it just the turn you Digivolve? If it was just a turn you Digivolved, it would probably all be 1 skill. You can see on the card that it is clearly separated into 2 separate skills. So to me, it seems like you always lose a security at the end of your turn. And the turn you evolve, you recover 2. This is not good. Now, one saving grace here is you discard the top of your security at the end of your turn, which means there is no way it possibly loses you the game until next turn. So you could lose your last security, but then it would be your turn, and we would have to wait until your opponent actually had another turn, and then as soon as they attacked 1 single time, they would guarantee to win the game. And that would still be sad and all of that, but at least it would be next turn, not this turn. But then if you've got multiples of these out, are you losing multiple security every turn? I assume that you are. And that is huge risk reward. Now, this is a game-winning card, but it is a card you have got to be so ridiculously over-the-top careful playing. This is the kind of card where you play it wrong, and your opponent gets to remove an extra security card for doing absolutely nothing, and that is a difference in the game. 1 security card can always be the difference in a game. You've got to be careful. But this is the kind of thing, when we're looking at Digimon, we're talking about turns and attackers. How many turns do I need to attack to remove your security and then attack for the win? How many blockers have you got to slow me down? How many extra Digimon can I play next turn? Blah, blah, blah. You're trying to calculate how many attacks to win and how many turns it's going to take. Well, giving yourself an extra 2 security cards could mean that your opponent isn't able to win. They can attack 4 times, you've got 2 security, so they are going to win. They attack twice to take out your security, and then they attack to win the game. But if you recover 2, they've got 4 attacks, you've got 4 security, and your opponent cannot win the game, and okay, fine, you lose a security at the end of your next turn, but nobody really cares, because that's not going to help your opponent. You add 2 security now, you lose 1 at the end of your opponent's turn, and they're just not going to be able to win the game, which essentially means you get 1 extra turn, and you getting 1 extra turn is all you need in order to win the game. That's what this card does. That is what is so awesome about this. It is a huge risk-reward card that could go absolutely hilariously wrong. But the fact of the matter is, if you just play this willy-nilly, and it's one of those level 6s you always Digivolve up into because it's a level 6 and it's got 10,000 power and all of that, it ain't going to be so good. There are going to be turns it massively backfires. If, however, you play this carefully, you're going to essentially say to your opponent, oh, you know I was going to be 1 turn away from winning? Well, now I've got an extra 2 security. Now I am not. And of course, there are going to be those ridiculous games where you've got, say, 3 level 5s out and you play 3 Rhizomon all in one go. You gain 6 security. And okay, fine, you lose 3 of them at the end of your opponent's next turn. But remember, it's still going to take an extra attack from your opponent to essentially reset the good that you did, in addition to losing 1 at the end of their turn. So you know what? Not a card that's always going to be good. A card you got to be super careful with. But recovery 2, it can buy you the turn you need to win. I love this, and I hate this in pretty much equal measure. Moving on to the rare card, we've got Valdmon here, and we've got another level 6. 13 cost to play normally is kind of expensive. 3 cost to Digivolve is standard. 11,000 power is fairly standard. So fairly standard except for the play cost, but you're not going to play this, you're going to Digivolve it. Why are you going to Digivolve it? Because you've got Digiburst free. Remember, Digiburst free says you've got to discard 3 evolution sources, so you must at least have a level 3, 4, and 5 under this. If you don't have a level 3, 4, and 5 under this, you will not be able to Digiburst because you won't have 3 evolution sources. But then you Digiburst free, and all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 4,000 power. Yeah, this is absolutely huge. This is a game-winning attack. If you're against something like Rookie Rush, which is a fairly widely played deck right now, that plays a whole bunch of small Digimon, this might as well read, delete all of your opponent's Digimon. It is actually the same skill as we see on Volcanic Dramon, but Volcanic Dramon is a play on a level 6, so you've got to pay the 11 cost to do it. Whereas this is a Digiburst free. So firstly, you can Digivolve up. Secondly, you can hold this. You don't have to use this. Volcanic Dramon, you've got to play it, and then you get the skill right there. Here, you can Digivolve up into this, and you can essentially hold it for a turn or 2 if you want to. Now, of course, if this is on the field and you don't use it immediately, you're giving your opponent information. They know that if they're able to Digivolve, doing so will save them, so they're gonna do so. It might not be relevant, they might not be able to, they might just be playing 4,000 and below in a proper Rookie Rush deck, but it is at least an option which is there for them. This is wonderful. This is a very, very powerful card indeed. I'm a huge fan, quite frankly. If you're against these kind of Rookie Rush decks, this is going to absolutely wreck. And by wreck, I literally mean delete all of their Digimon. Like, literally every single Digimon they've got on the field. That is going to be hard to come back from. Being Digiburst free on a level 6 basically means it is a one-shot deal. You're not going to have enough evolution sources to use this more than once, but you might not need to. And I talk about this against Rookie Rush. It doesn't have to be against Rookie Rush. This could just be, you've evolved up nice and quickly, your opponent's got 2 or 3 smaller Digimon, and you're off. Or you do just Digivolve up early and you hold it. And you say to your opponent, if you want to play weaker Digimon, you better evolve them immediately. And you can obviously keep passing to them with very little memory to try and stop this. And then your opponent plays 2 or 3 Digimon that are small and weak, and you just immediately get rid of them. It's very fun. It's a kind of skill your opponent is, if they're worried about it, they're going to have to try and bait you. They're going to have to play 1 or 2 little Digimon to try and bait you into playing the skill so that they can then play the rest of them. And if your opponent is having to play like that because of a threat you've got on the board, that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. These are 2 game-winning cards. These are both game-winning level 6s. Being able to recover 2, yes, fine, there's a huge downside, but again, it is a card that you play once at the perfect time and it wins you the game. Similarly, Valdmon here, what are we doing? We are using it to wreck the board. Maybe it's a rookie rush counter. Maybe it's just gonna get rid of 2 or 3 Digimon at the perfect time. Either way, these are 2 cards that can absolutely win you the game, and frankly, I am all in favour. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.